I want to ask you guys something. Have you guys ever heard a song that you just had no idea what on earth it's talking about? Well, chances are this song was from the 60s. Now, the 60s were a very troubling time to everybody, and this is why things that are sort of nonsense like this came about. And from this came songs. This one happens to be one of my favorite ones from the 60s, and that is why I did it, because it has so much meaning hidden within the lyrics. So, I'm going to sing some of the verses in this, but others I will not, because it's a tongue twister. Alright, so the first verse is, "A long, long time ago, I can still remember how the music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance, and I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I delivered. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step. And I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widow bride. Something touched me deep inside the day the music died." Alright, so that one sounds pretty normal, right? You can identify meaning. He's talking about how he loves music and all that. And it identifies with me because I do love music and I love to brighten people's day. That's one of my main goals. And when I have to give the bad news that ruins a person's day, it just isn't fun. It's hard to do. And that's about all I have for the first verse. Now the second verse. "And did you write the book of love, and do you have faith in God above, if the Bible tells you so? And do you believe in rock and roll? Can music save your mortal soul? And can you teach me how to dance real slow? And I know that you're in love with him, 'cause I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes. Man, I dig those rhythmy blues. I was a lonely teenage bronking buck with a pink carnation and a pickup truck. But I knew I was out of luck the day the music died." Alright, so it kind of went to a totally different idea there, you know. And yes, I did write the Book of Love, the nasty book of pickup lines. And some of you might want to read it afterwards. See me if you want to. And this is a verse that has so much meaning to me. Because the quote, "Do you have faith in God above, if the Bible tells you so?" So many times these days, people will try and act like they are true Christians and they know everything about it. And they cannot even tell you the main verse that everyone quotes from the Bible, John 3:16. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son." And that's basically all they can tell you, is just the idea of it. They can't even quote parts of it, but they claim themselves as true Christians, and it relates to me because, I don't know everything about it, but I know a lot. I make it a point to learn more about it because it's this long book and it takes time. And the other point of this is McLean points out that, "And I know that you were in love with him, because I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes, and I dig those rhythmy blues." This doesn't apply to me in love, obviously. I've been forever alone for 16 years. And have you ever heard of the ultimatum that when you turn 30 and you are still single, you'll turn into a wizard? Hey, maybe that's my goal, you know? It'd be nice. It has a nice consolation prize, you know. It's better to have everlasting love. But sometimes you just can't get it. But the real meaning is, that I see and relate to myself, is with friends. Like, say, we're lifting out in the physical training room, and you can only have a group of 2. Well, if I was the third person, chances are I'd be the one to get left out. I mean, it happens to everybody, but it just seems like it happens more to me, and it kind of leaves me feeling bad and all that. But let's go back to the chorus, because I accidentally skipped that earlier. We was singing, "Bye bye, Miss American Pie, drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die." I believe McLean is just throwing every single icon of an American country night in there. Which is why I brought this. Bye bye, Miss American Pie. American. You don't see a French guy wearing a cowboy hat now, do you? You don't see him drinking whiskey and rye either. Or driving to a levee. I haven't even heard of the French having a levee. So, that's why I relate this a lot to just an American country night. There's nothing more that that says. It's just, you know, a bunch of icons mixed together and doesn't have much real meaning. In the third verse, now for 10 years we've been on our own, and moss grows fat on a rolling stone. But that ain't how it used to be. And when the jester sang for the king and queen in a coat he borrowed from James Dean, and a voice that came from you and me. And while the king was looking down, the jester stole his thorny crown. The courtroom was adjourned, no verdict was returned. And while Lennon read a book on Marx, the quartet practiced in the park. We sang dirges in the dark, the day the music died. And this has the most meaning that applies to everybody. Through life, we all play the role of the jester. When we are born, we are the jester. We are trying to gain the support and the love of our parents. Most of the time, those 2 are given to us. But you have to earn your way up in society, which is the work of the jester. In this case, McLean was talking about Elvis and Bob Dylan. Elvis was the king of rock until he went into the army. And that's when Bob Dylan slid in and took his spot. So, he had basically trained him, and soon enough, the student became the master. And while Lennon read a book on Marx, the quartet practiced in the park. That's just another one of those things McLean throws in there to kind of take up a little more of that 8 minutes of the song. And let's see, the fourth verse. Helter-skelter in a summer swelter, the birds flew off of the fallout shelter. 8 miles high and falling fast, landed foul on the grass, with a jester on the sidelines in a cast. The halftime air was sweet perfume as the sergeants played a marching tune. We all got up to dance, but we never got the chance, because the players tried to take the field, but the marching band refused to yield. Do you recall what was revealed the day the music died? I believe that this reverts back to the idea of the last verse with the jester and the king. The marching band often is considered just a support to the football team. They are not considered their own group. So when the marching band got up and started to deny the football players their fame, the football players didn't have many good things to say about it. And often that goes on with jesters and the kings. Now, the fifth verse. We were all in one place, a generation lost in space, with no time left to start again. So come on, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack Flash set on a candlestick, 'cause fire is the devil's only friend. And as I watched him on the stage, my hands were clenched in fists of rage. No angel born in could break that Satan's spell. As the flames climbed high into the night to light the sacrificial rite, I saw Satan laughing with delight the day the music died. Now, there's only one person, or there are actually two people that I can think of that I clench my hands whenever they are on stage. That would be the new country singer, Sam Hunt, and Justin Bieber. Nothing brings more rage to me when he's on stage yipping and yapping about drugs and pugs and all the popular stuff nowadays. In the 6th verse, I met a girl who sang the blues, and I asked her for some happy news. She just smiled and turned away. And I went down to the sacred store where I had heard the music years before. But the man there said the music wouldn't play. And in the streets the children screamed, the lovers cried in the poet's dream. But not a word was spoken, the church bells all were broken. And the three men I admire most, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, they caught the last train for the coast the day the music died. Now, oftentimes, like when he's talking about the sacred store, that could have been anything relating to you as a child. Like maybe you wanted to go back and relive an old memory. But oftentimes the world changes too quick that you never get to go back. So it's important that you keep it in your head. And that's another thing that I've learned and why it relates to me. And the next thing is the day the music dies for me. It's the day I believe that the Lord will no longer be a part of the world. And He will have given up on us. And nobody will be able to be happy. Wars will break out, famine, and all that terrible stuff. And that is what American Pie means to me.